Get this. So for a couple of years now, I have been working seasonally retail. Stay with me. So during the Christmas season, this guy comes in. And I was like, hello, sir, welcome in. Is there anything I could help you with today? And he goes, can I have your number? And to that, I was like, and he was like, oh, you're married. And I was like, no, sir, actually, I'm engaged. I'm not engaged. I wear this ring out so that if somebody hits on me, I just can be nice and just be like, sorry. I know it's terrible. Sorry, whatever, moving on. So he was like, oh, it's too bad you're engaged because I'd love to take you out. And I was like, yeah, anyway, how can I help you? And this man goes, I'm actually looking for a necklace for my girlfriend. His girlfriend. Then he asks where the $50 and under section is. I was working at a jewelry store, a nice jewelry store. I said, unfortunately, there's only a few items in that price range. Showed it to him. He said, thanks, winks at me, and walks out the door. Somebody come get your man.
Plastic surgeries that went wrong, part 1. Sahar Taber was a beautiful girl. I mean, very beautiful. And she got famous in 2017 because she was kind of starting to change her looks crazy. Little by little. Some people were even calling her the ugly version of Angelina Jolie. Turns out that she wasn't even trying to look like Angelina Jolie. She was actually inspired by Emily from Corpse Bride. Do you like the before or after? And like this video if I should do a part 2.
Oh, I need to process this. So I was in the grocery store, minding my own business, as one should. And I kept getting stares, which I understand why, because look at all this. No, I'm kidding. It's apparently because my jean shorts are too short. It made me uncomfortable. But alas, I'm a strong gal, I just keep a-strolling. And I noticed that there's this older man who keeps walking behind me. And I'm thinking, what's good, Bubba? Well, he approaches me and he says this. Yes, this is true, buckle up. Ma'am, you're not wearing a whole lot of clothing. You're gonna make men stumble. And I said, sir, are you saying you're falling head over heels in love with me? He didn't think that was funny. He said, when girls like you wear clothing like that, it's very difficult for boys and men like me to control my thoughts and actions. I said, sir, if you and others can't control your thoughts and actions, you shouldn't be leaving the house because you're a predator.
You guys seem to be shocked that people didn't always come the cleanest for their Brazilian wax, but I'm gonna really blow your mind with this one. The real reason I quit my waxing job. So I was waxing this lady's Brazilian. It was my first time seeing her, and every time you get a Brazilian wax, it includes the butt. So it came to the part where I was waxing her butt and I told her to lift her knees to her chest, and when she did, she farted directly on my arm and I felt a particle hit my arm. A dookie fleck. It was whatever, and I just finished up the wax and, told her she could get dressed. And whenever people would get dressed, we wouldn't leave the room. We would just turn around to give them their privacy. So I turn around, I'm like cleaning up my station, and I hear the paper on the bed ripping. I'm like, that's weird, that's my job to do it. So I turn around to see what she's doing, and this grown woman is holding a turd in her hand, and she's trying to wrap it up in the paper. She tried to throw it in my trash can, and I told her, ma'am, you gotta go flush that.
Oh. I was trying to wait for my brother to get home so that I could reveal, the broken phone. Well, there it is. But he's probably not going to be home anytime soon, so I just decided that I'm going to show it. So here's the damaged phone. It's got some cracks, obviously. It won't turn on, but I'm pretty sure it's just dead. The speakers on the phone don't work very well unless you're connected to Bluetooth. So yeah, he has a new phone now. Also, to answer some common questions, we were on either the 4th or the 5th floor of the hospital, and it fell about 2 stories, I think. And so when we found the phone, we were expecting the damage to be a lot worse because when we found it, it was, face down. But honestly, it's not too bad. We still have the phone. So yeah.
Here's the story about the time I accidentally walked the red carpet at the Tony Awards. So my sister and I got tickets as general audience members. Obviously the dress code was formal, so here we are walking around Manhattan in our gowns. You can see Radio City, and here I've zoomed in to show that visibility was blocked and people were trying to see the red carpet. So we walked to the end of the street, not sure how we were going to find the line to get into the theater, and a police officer came over to us and said, "You girls are going to the show, right?" And we said yes. So he escorted us through security and into an area that we assumed would be the general line, and this is what we saw. By the time we realized he'd brought us to the red carpet, he was already gone. There were other people in Gans that weren't being interviewed or photographed, so we briefly thought that this might be the general waiting area, but we quickly figured out they were friends and family of the stars, and one of them offered to take a picture of us, so that was nice. If we looked stressed, it's because we were. We were scared to tell anyone we weren't supposed to be there because we didn't want to get in trouble, even though it wasn't our fault. So we just followed the nice family that took our picture all the way along the red carpet until we got to the front entrance and an employee asked to see our tickets, and once he saw them, he said, "You shouldn't be here." And we said, "We know."
Dominique nique s'en allait tout simplement, routier, pauvre et chantant. En tout chemin, en tout lieu, il ne parle que du bon Dieu, il ne parle que du bon Dieu. À l'époque où Jean sans terre d'Angleterre était le roi, Dominique, notre père, combattit les albigeois. Dominique nique s'en allait tout simplement, routier, pauvre et chantant. En tout chemin, en tout lieu, il ne parle que du bon Dieu, il ne parle que du bon Dieu. Certains jours, un hérétique par des ronces le conduit, mais notre père Dominique par sa joie le convertit. Dominique nique s'en allait tout simplement, routier.
I just went to go get gas, and this man behind me, this man's probably like 50. He looks at my outfit and goes, "Your outfit matches very nicely." I'm like, "Aw, thank you, sir." Then he goes, "I really like your shoes." I was like, "Oh, thanks." He goes, "What size of shoe do you wear?" I was like, 8.5. I'm at the register. I say 15 on pump 3. The man behind me speaks up, says, "Oh, I'll pay for her gas." I was like, "Oh, no, sir, you don't have to do that." He's like, no, I insist. I go outside to go pump my gas. The guy comes back and asks me he could have a picture of my foot. Why would someone want a picture of my foot? I start laughing. This guy's not laughing. Dude, he was serious. "Oh, no, sir." He's like, "How much do you charge?" How much do I charge for a picture of my foot? I don't really know my rates yet. So he goes, "How about 20? I'm like, what? Like, no, I would not do that. I don't know if that's illegal, but I just sold a picture of my foot for $80.
Story time! Our freshman year of high school, we decided that it would be super funny if we switched classes for the whole day. Since we were new to the school, no one could tell us apart, especially our teachers. We planned out our day, we wore the same outfits and the same hair, and we gave each other our schedules. We went over everything we did in class. We kind of had different personalities, so she was more of the troublemaker and I was just kind of quiet in class. We ended up giving each other our backpacks, homework, and we switched IDs. So I walked into my first class and some of the kids started to notice that I wasn't Mackenzie except for the teacher, so I was good. My first block went really good too. No one really noticed at all, actually. So from second block to fourth block, none of the teachers noticed that we switched classes. By lunchtime, pretty much all the students knew and everyone was talking about it. So after lunch, we were going into our 5th period class and Malia didn't tell me, but she had a presentation due. I obviously wasn't prepared and that's when my teacher noticed. I was just chilling in my class and then my teacher got a phone call. Like for part 2? Part 2! So I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail about how my teacher found out I wasn't Malia. So this was a group project and my group was helping me because they knew I was Mackenzie, not Malia. They told me exactly what to say. When our group was presenting, everything was going perfectly smooth, but then my teacher says in these exact words, "You're not Malia, are you?" At this point, I was like, I'm not going to deny it, she knows. So I was like, yeah, I'm Mackenzie. And then she called my teacher, the class I was in. So I was in her English class taking a test for her. And so my teacher gets a phone call and he picks it up and he goes, "Oh my gosh, you're right." So he hangs up the phone and he looks directly at me and my heart's like pounding because I'm so scared to see what he's about to say. And then he says, "You're not Mackenzie, are you?" And I was like, "No." So I'm like freaking out because everyone's staring at me and I thought I was going to get in trouble. And then he said, "You totally got me. I thought you were Mackenzie." And then he told me I was welcome back anytime and I was like, what? Stay tuned for part 3, boos!
Even though the English teacher was pretty chill about it, we still just switched back because our other teacher was really mad.
And they told the principal.
So we were both walking back to our classes, and I walk in and everyone's staring at me and they start laughing, but my teacher was pissed. So I immediately apologized to my teacher because she was so mad, but she told me to have a seat and then we just went on with class.
So I walked back into my class and everyone's just laughing hysterically. Then they started taking pictures of me and posting it on their Snapchat story. So for the rest of the day, we just went on with our normal schedules.
So we went home and everything was fine. But then the next day...
So we went to school and everything was quiet, everything was all good until 5th period again.
So the dean comes in my class and I'm like freaking out because he looks at me and he goes, "Let's go to my office." So I'm sitting up in the office and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go grab your sister."
So once I got up to the office, we both had to write a paragraph about what happened and call our parents. We warned our parents the day before and they knew that they were gonna get a phone call.
So long story short, we had Saturday school and it really sucked.
The end!
Story time. So one time when I was at work, I had just gotten back from my lunch and I went to the bathroom and realized someone else was in there. And as I'm chilling on my phone on the toilet, I see the hand of the woman in the stall next to me. And I'm like, oh, she must need some toilet paper. Then I see she starts kind of sliding under my stall and I'm like, and she kind of starts to like seize. And I'm like, oh God. And I get up real quick and I pull up my pants and I'm shouting, ma'am, are you okay, ma'am? Just hold on, okay, I'm gonna go get some help, ma'am, just stay with me, ma'am. So then I go find a manager and see him right outside the bathroom, and I said I needed help because there's a woman in the bathroom who just fell off the toilet. So he comes strutting into the bathroom and asks me what's happening. As I'm explaining it to him, she starts to stand up and he goes to help her. He then hands me his phone and tells me to call 911. As I'm explaining what's happening to the person on the phone, my manager tells me to tell them that she overdosed. The lady then realizes what's happening and zooms out the door, and me and my two managers have to follow her out to the parking lot. I'll post part 2 of this blows up. Part 2 of the time I called 911 at work, and if you weren't here for part 1, here's what happened. I was at work and I went to the bathroom and a woman fell off the toilet in the stall next to me and started seizing. But it was because she OD'd and then she woke up and ran out the door. Me and my managers then had to follow her out the doors, and now here we are. The lady then gets in her car and starts to drive away very slowly and very badly. As I'm still on the phone with 911, they tell me to describe her and her car, so I told them what she was wearing and her license plate number. I told them that she started to pull into the bank that was next to us on the right of the store. Then she decided to drive to the gas station, which was across the street. As soon as I said that, I saw red and blue flashing lights pulling her over. I hung up with the person on the 911 call and went back to work. Later that night, an officer came in and I showed them the bathroom where we found a needle cap on the ground in her stall. The officer then took my statement, and ever since, I've been scared to go to the bathroom at work.